What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So here she is again, back up on the jack stand. I thought I would do a review on the new M3 GTS Stage 3 transmission tune that I uploaded to it a few weeks ago from XHP. It's supposedly one of the world's first or best DCT tunes for these 1 Series and 3 Series N55 and I guess newer DCT gearbox BMWs. What I wanted to talk to you guys about was not a jump in the car, drive it, see how it feels sort of thing. I wanted to give it a few weeks and actually drive the car and give you guys my opinions on the tune. So I do think the tune is worth buying and it does make the car quite fun, and here's why. So before I jump into the video, I just want to remind you guys that when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a giveaway. So as mentioned, all you guys got to do, so comment on this photo on my Instagram. The link is in the description below. Comment a number between 1 and 1,000 and tag 2 of your friends. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll generate a number on the internet and whoever's closest will win that button. For all 1 Series and 3 Series BMWs in the E-Series, it'll give your vehicle a bit of a sporty look. I uploaded a video on the install and how it looks in the car, so feel free to watch that. So jumping into the XHP tune, this is a bit of a review. So initially, it's not too hard to get the tune. You just have to go onto XHP website, buy the license so that you can flash your car, and then buy the map packs. Once you've bought both those, you connect to the vehicle and it will save the details of what your vehicle is and download a backup of the stock transmission tune that comes factory with the car. Just in case anything goes wrong, you can flash it back to stock. So initially, I jumped straight into doing the Stage 3 tune. That's the most aggressive, and it basically was shaped around the type of person that wants to have fun in their car and take it to the track. My initial experience was I put the car into sports mode, across the manual, sport button on, traction control off. I wanted to take it out and see how it reacted. Initially, first thing I noticed was the gear changes. They were a lot sharper, a lot more aggressive, and the Stage 3 tune has a bit of a torque punch feature, so you can you feel just that little bit more torque on the gear changes, and it just makes driving the car a lot more enjoyable. You just feel connected to the car. I'm not partnered with XHP. I'm not trying to promote them in any way. I'm just telling you guys my initial thoughts. And to be honest with you, what caused this car to be on the jack stands right now, I thought it came down to the tune. It's somewhat related, and then it started to make me think that the tune was trash and it just destroyed my car, but I'll get to that in a second. And that was because that was not the case. Driving the car now is a little bit more fun than it was before. I quite enjoy that because it just improves the driving experience. So secondly, the next thing I noticed was in manual mode, it is a true manual. Not true manual to the point where, like, I know it's a DCT, there's no clutch and you don't have to change gear with the gear stick, but it's a true manual in the regard that it won't change gear unless you tell it to, whether it be the paddle or the gear knob, it stays in that gear. I left a car event and wanted to have a little bit of fun, put my foot down, next thing I know, the engine's going, and I'm like, oh crap, and then flick change gear, and there I go. A few people were saying, oh, I thought that was your car, I heard the loud sound and had never heard something like that before. It took me a bit of time to get used to the tune. I just had to keep thinking about changing gears every time I got on it. Otherwise, it just hits limiter. For some weird reason, this car, always you'd hit second gear, go up to about 4,000 RPMs, short shift. I don't know why the car did it, but it never liked second gear and I could never stay in second gear all the way to third. And that second gear, that initial pull was quite fun to me, but the car just didn't like it. I don't know whether it was a mix of the JB4 MHD tuning, because that's when it started to do it. But the fact that this tune is on the car now, it stays in gear and it revs out. Not only that, there's no kick down, no auto matching, no nothing. It feels like a manual. If you're someone that wants to do power slides, burnouts, stuff like that, and be able to actually let the tires break traction, it lets you now. I know if you got a big turbo, stuff like that, it's not very hard to do, but this thing's stock turbo and I'm having fun now. So next thing about the XHP Stage 3 tune is 4K launch control as well as adjustable launch control. So I tried the 4K launch control in the car. The rear tires on this thing they're quite dead. I need to look into a new set of tires. If you guys have any really good tire recommendations for me, comment below. I'd be keen to check out what you guys recommend. I'm always willing to try what my subscribers recommend. So I am looking at the Advan 808Rs, Nankang AR1s, R888Rs, Nexen and Ferra SUR4Gs. Looking at getting maybe another set of RS4s again, but I don't know, I'm keen to try something different. So there are quite a few other features to the tune. In D mode, just standard D, it doesn't feel real sloppy. That's what the gear changes used to feel like in the car from factory. It just didn't feel proper. It felt as if the gearbox was not tuned well, and it just had slow reaction times. Whereas in D itself, it's nice to drive if you just want to drive it around town. So the tune increases the clamping pressure between the clutches and it gauges harder. There is adjustments in the tune if you want to change the way, like change the flash settings as well on top of that. So you can tweak it how you want to have it. With the torque punch and all the added features, you can feel the extra torque. It's not much, but it's just enough to make it enjoyable. So my car's saved here. You simply just click on it. It's asking me to download the stop map because I flashed it using the Android, not the Apple. So I would just ignore that. But if you're doing a fresh flash, make sure you download your stock map. I would highly recommend, and then from there you can select what tune you want to do. It also has diagnostics on the transmission itself, which is another nice feature. Now it's time to get to why the car is on jack stands once again. Here are some photos of what the flex disc, essentially it sits between the drive shaft and the transmission, and it's the piece that connects those two together. Mine has the aluminium flex disc from factory. That part has cracked and broken. It's been like pretty well obliterated, and my drive shaft has come off the transmission, and then my center bearing and the center bearing support on the drive shaft, that just got destroyed. All the rubber just went to pieces. So I had a mate in the car and I was showing him the tune and just how sick it is how the car won't change gears and you can really get on it and it's like it'll slide. All was well and good, and then all of a sudden I just noticed vibrations at a low RPM just while driving on the road, and it just didn't feel right. I was like, oh, something's up. And then I took it for a bit of a longer trip, and while I was driving I felt a weird vibration come through the car. So instead of talking about it, here is my flex disc. So these are the bits that sit in between it. As you can see, they're quite bent. That's that aluminium flex disc, well, the other side of it. Here is the front half of my drive shaft. So that bit there sits into the second half of the back. When you separate them, you got to make sure, because they are balanced and weighted from the factory, that you mark it. So when you fit them back together, it fits back on the exact same way you took it off, because if it's not sitting in the same position, because it's weighted, you'll get very, very hectic vibrations coming through the car, and your whole drive shaft will vibrate, like, and yeah, you'll destroy your center bearing support again. So would not recommend not marking that. That is a must if you're ever doing this job. So this is the other side of the flex disc. I don't know if you guys can see that there, but it's just cracked through there. It was enough to make them come out, and you can see the bolts have like attacked it. These are the factory transmission mounts here. They're quite soft. The new ones I got are red, so they look a little bit cooler, even though you'll never see them because they're under the car, but they're a lot firmer, so I'm keen to see how that feels when I drive it. Here is the center bearing support. As you can see, there's nothing left. There's no bearing in there, there's nothing. It's literally just a frame. My issue with this job was the center bearing was stuck on the diff and I couldn't get it off. I tried to use the bearing puller, smacked it with a hammer, everything just wouldn't come off. So I used a Dremel and a cutting disc and I cut the bearing off. Just straight through, cut it. Just make sure you don't hit the diff if you do that. Just waiting on parts now. Chuck the center bearing support on, hook it all back up. The car's actually booked into the shop later this week. Getting a brand new oil pan gasket put on the car as it's leaking quite a lot, and I'm occasionally getting little bits of smoke come up the vents from oil burning off. So that's getting redone, as well as a baffle installed into the sump. So the mechanic's gonna weld in a baffle. So the guys at VAC Motorsports have sent me out a oil pan baffle, which is going to be installed when I get that sump done. The new hubs I've got, which have been on the floor for ages, that's a 130i setup. They're going to be put on the rear as well, so that my rear wheels fit properly and they don't bottom out in the body. Then the whole car's going to get nice alignment. So guys, I'm sorry that this video hasn't been me in the car driving it. or the car alive at all. Just wanted to get an upload up about this tune because a few of you guys have requested me to do a review on the tune, tell you guys a bit more information about it. Bear in mind, if you have the old flex disc and not the new revised one, you might have the same issues as me if you use the tune on the aggressive setting, the stage 3 setting, as the extra torque could break that disc. So once again guys, I appreciate all of you that watch my videos. If you enjoy watching my content, please make sure you like and subscribe for more videos. Don't forget about the giveaway, that'll be happening soon. I'll see you next time.